Hello, everybody. The beer rambling and gambling. Jean Pierre looks at Kona Brewing Company Castaway IPA India Pale Ale. The Kona Brewery started in 1994, of course, in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. Um, the brewery began, so we'll do a little history. The brewery started in 1994. Since 2010, they have been owned by the Craft Brew Alliance, which is a partnership between the Red Hook Ale Brewery, the Widemere Brothers Brewery, and Kona Brewing Company, and as well as Omission Beer, and as well as Square Mill Cider. And also, they're the makers of the KCOO. Um, as of 3 years ago, they went into partnership or ownership or subsidiary of course, Mega Anheuser-Busch InBev, which owns 32% of the company. And so that's the history of the beer. The so I'm getting some information from the brewery right now. Because again, they started as a small little brewery, and they were in certain restaurants throughout the island of Hawaii. Um, Sort of very environmental friendly company that it is, and they have always kept that going since then. Doing a lot of solar projects, solar energy, things like that. The popular beers around, of course, I've had the Longboard Island Lager. I've had that one. I've had the Bring. I never had the Big Wave Golden Ale nor the Fire Rock Pale Ale, but this is my first time. But the Longboard I've had before, so this is my first beer, second beer of theirs I'm having. They have other beers that also in the islands: Cocoa Brown Ale, the Black Sand Porter, and the Hula Hefeweizen. Those are one of the beers that are only sold on the island. And then there are other beers also sold not only in the island but also in other like 36 states throughout the country. And we get them here in beautiful Alabama, sweet home Alabama. But anyhow, um, there's the ale, the IPA, 6% ABV by volume. I mean 6% ABV. I keep doing that all the time. I apologize, people. 6% ABV. You know what that is stands for. So anyhow, let me get when it the right way. I keep doing. I'm gonna break my fucking teeth, man. Pardon me. Pardon language, people. Anyhow, the style. As you can see, I pour my beer. Um, I see. The first time this beer came in the states, I was well, in the states. I mean, when the first time I had it, as I mentioned, was the Longboard Lager. Um, what was it? It was 2011, and it was at a grocery store. Excuse me, a package store. I paid too much for it, sadly. But at the time, I thought, it's okay. It ain't great, but it's all right, So I said, why not? So since then, I haven't bought any of their beers, but I saw this $1.60, let's see, yeah, $1.69 at Rouse's. I said, let me give this a try. And my pick, one of the good things about Rouse's versus, good thing about Rouse's versus um, a few other stores that I've been to, they don't concern yourself. You can buy, you do buy one or two or three, and that's it. Where most of the stores in my area, you have to do the pick six. Buy it, the sixer. And the only spot I do go to, unfortunately, is Greer's. In one of those stores is Ronald J. Terrier likes to put at the George, pay for more, food for more. One of those stores where they do the cost plus 10%. I don't know if you have it in your area, but down here in our neck of the woods here in the southeast or in the Gulf Coast region. There's a lot of those stores out there. And Rouse's has a sign when you walk into their supermarket. It says, we don't do those gimmicks, those costs plus 10%. But if you're in the area, but if you're needing to get something really quick up the street, you need to get some milk for the baby who's crying, or get some cereal or some bologna, and the store is right up the street versus going to Walmart or Supercenter or going to Winn-Dixie or Piggly Wiggly where it's like 10, 20, maybe 30 minutes away. Unfortunately, that's what you got to do. So I'm eating this cheese here. As you can see, it's called the Figaro Cheeseheads Wisconsin Snacking Cheese. I know, it's really good. That's what I'm eating right now. Nibbling on with this beer. Oh, let's talk about the beer. Sorry. Typical IPA, Indian Pale smell. A lot of fruit. I smell some of the citrus immediately in this. A bit hoppy. So let's take a whiff. Take a sip, excuse me. See the color right there. There's not really much head. You can see your typical IPA taste. Most IPAs tend to be a little higher, 6%, about the range between 5 and 7, but mostly between those range. Most India Pale Ales are within that style, or Indian Pale Lagers, like the Yingling IPL, Indian Pale Lagers. So decent, a bit soury, but decent for an IPA. Had this in the fridge in my wine cellar. I have a little wine refrigerator. I used to put well, not red wines. Red wines you can't put in there. You gotta keep it at room temperature. I think, personally, but I was like, I bought that when I did back in the day. I did drink white wine, but obviously red wine is kind of what I drink. But lately, I've been drinking a lot of beer. So, and beer pairs well with a lot of foods, as does red wine. If my doctor ever told me to go home and say, "Hey, I gotta have something," I said, "Just drink red wine only." I say, "All right, cool. At least I got my red wine." Um. So anyway, they got the distributor network through Anheuser-Busch InBev. So obviously the beers are pretty much everywhere, and obviously they still have their brewery in Hawaii. And what's one of the good things, like I said in my other previous videos, when these companies, not even the imports or even the local, when they get in bed with some of the big boys like the Coors and the Molson Coors or Miller Coors or Anheuser-Busch, and the fact that they remain, you know, or take some ownership or percentage of the company, one thing they try to do is make sure they keep the breweries made in those respective cities or countries. Um, Heineken International, as I mentioned, with Prestige, also with the beer I did the other day with Bohemia Classica, they or Takata, or even with um, Soul. They make sure that, okay, we have some ownership of some say subsidiary of us, but we'll make sure that the beer stays made and produced or brewed in that home country or that home state. You know, because obviously they know how important it is to the local economy to have these things stay within the city or the state. So. Oh, it's decent. Like I said, I like it. It paired well with that cheese I just had. And pairing wise, anything strong, like that strong, smelly, funky cheese, sharp blue cheese or cheddar, or the one which I just had, that white cheddar. Um, Grilled chicken, with some veggies, some mixed vegetable medley, or a little side of baked potato, or a grilled tilapia, or maybe a grilled salmon, with some rice pilaf, or some asparagus. That would be a nice. This beer will go well with this. So this is not bad. Like I said, I've had some other good, decent IPAs. Again, as I mentioned, I'm kind of biased more in favor of the Ranger IPA by New Belgium. I think that's really, really good. Um, you also have the um, you know Ranger kind of stands out to me. The other IPAs I've had the Goose Island IPA. I think those are the two that I'm more used to having because obviously they're everywhere and they're consistent, and I tend to drink it more oftentimes. But again, IPAs are like just like with high gravity lagers, even a stout. Those are like for and here or there special occasion, but it doesn't change what I usually drink. Is what most folks drink is usually all lagers or a pilsner. And let's be real, folks. I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that pretty much what we're drinking, right? Really? I mean, at the end of the day, we're having a lager, a very strong micro lager or whatever it is, or even we're having majority of us are having, or a pilsner, maybe a pale ale, you know, but those are pretty much the beers that we will consume on an everyday basis. Most of us who do drink beer, I mean, these are good, but I doubt these are considered everyday beers, um, so what was that, maybe like I said a lager, a light lager, or a light beer, or called light or pilsner, um, a pale ale, um, maybe a high gravity lager. Depends on our budget. But I would say those are probably the four styles. I said a lager, adjunct lager, light lager, or pilsner, as they call those light beers. A pale ale, a stout, and I would say a high grav and maybe a high gravity beer. I would say those are probably the five we'll drink on Monday through Friday, 360 Monday through 7 days a week, 365 days a year, or within that percent. I'll say 20, maybe I'll say maybe 60% of the time, most of us, but probably the adjunct lagers and the light lagers, we would consume more than anything. So, because that's what we like. So this is good. I'm gonna give this beer. I'll give this thing. I'll be fair. I'll give it a 8. Ah, no, no, no. I'll give this a 9. Beer Advocates likes it too. They gave it an 85 score. The Bros, I didn't see their score, but I'll give it a 9 because, like I said, I don't really buy much Kona beers a lot. I think they make good beers, but not something that I get a lot. Like I said, of the style, like I said, Goose IPA or even the Ranger IPA, I probably will sample more than I would get in this. But this is a good beer. So, tell me your thoughts and comments. I'm going 50 minutes long, close to it. If you had Kona Castaway IPA, what's your thoughts on this beer? Leave your comments on the bottom. And about a 9, I'll give this beer. So, good, decent, you know. So, that's all I got to say, people. Jean Anderson Pierre. Jean Anderson Pierre, the Beer and TV Roundtable. To keep watching. And as always, cheers.